Hey guys, good morning to you. It's Fred. Thanks for joining me. I'm probably going to get a reflection off of that. So let's just take that off. Eliminate that. I can see a reflection on my computer in my glasses. Let's try to do that. Guys, I don't know how long this video is going to be. Just watch what you want. Turn it off when you want. Some of the information may be repetitive. Some of it may be something you've never heard yet. Sheila is substitute teaching today. She's been subbing more than she worked when we worked before we retired, but I'm here alone, so I thought, well, I'll clean some of my computer off. And in doing that, I see a lot of notes that I've made here. Some of them I've gone over in other videos, some of them not. So before I delete these notes, I thought, well, I'll just make a video of it. Again, they may be something here of interest to you. They may not be. Use your own judgment. If you're bored like I am, you'll sit through them and just see. I might say something here that rings a bell to you. We get a lot of feedback from people, Sheila and I do, that help us with our videos and information. Everyone pointing fingers at each other. Why is it? Why is it all of a sudden everyone's pointing fingers at each other? Everyone is pointing fingers at each other. And the reason why is because they've been called out. They've been called out. When you was in school and you got caught doing something you shouldn't have been doing, you get nervous, you point your fingers, you want to blame somebody else. Everybody thought this was going to be a smooth transaction. This was just we're going to hold this press conference. We'll tell people what we got. We've got the credentials. We've got the attire. We look good, look professional. They didn't count on people wanting more. They didn't count on people actually wanting to see evidence rather than hearsay or rumors. But as of right now, everybody's pointing fingers. Everybody's mad. We've got some that says, well, not some. We've got a couple. It's I seen where Doris Baldwin also posted on her Facebook the other day and shared the other guys where he wanted to sign a petition to get our YouTube channel taken down. For what? Telling the truth? If it bothers you that much, go watch something else. It's real easy. You just change the channel. Let's stick with the evidence, guys. Stick with the evidence or the lack of evidence. Sometimes the best evidence you've got is the evidence you don't have. I know that's hard to understand, but sometimes what you don't have is the best evidence that proves that a crime didn't happen or that this person didn't commit that crime. Stop getting sidetracked. Some of these people want to sidetrack everybody. They want everybody to look at other issues, other people, other rumors. They want you to focus on something else. Let's focus on the charge at hand, the allegations at hand, the press conference. Buford Pusser murdered his wife, Louise. Nothing else. Let's don't focus on Louise Hathcock, on Hamilton. Let's focus on not here to insinuate Buford walked on water. Sheila and I have never said Buford Pusser walked on water. We've never been Buford Pusser fans or followers until the August 29th press conference, and talking about a dead man 58 years later and convicting him in public opinion and on TV of murdering his wife with no evidence. Literally no evidence. After we started investigating the case, we find out that there is no evidence of no kind, even of the ambush itself. They have lost everything, including the file. No evidence. We're not trying to make this man out to be the Pope or say that he walked on water. Like all of us, I'm sure he sinned, had his demons. I'm getting messages there. Let me turn that off, guys, so you don't. Buford was human, and I'm sure he made mistakes. We are. No evidence, then there's no evidence. If there's no evidence that Buford killed his wife, then there's no evidence. There's no evidence from the 1967 crime scenes, ambush sites, and there's no evidence of anything else other than rumors and books and stories that people's made up over the last 58 years. Guys, they've had 58 years to make this stuff up, especially the last 20 with Mr. Elam. Due process, I'm not going to go through all this. Buford, everybody has their day in court, has a right to face their accusers. This is about the truth. It's not about making enemies with each other, whether you believe this or you believe that, or guys, it's not about belief. It's what a person can prove. It's what the evidence shows. Truth through or truth with proof. With proof. Not what we think. Not what somebody's wrote in a book. Not what somebody says on a podcast. I can tell you right now, Fred McCoy has got the awfulest head of hair you ever seen. I just wear this hat so I can control it and keep it from hanging down in my eyes when I'm trying to read. I can tell you that. And there's actually somebody out there that may actually believe that. But Fred McCoy is as bald as a eagle. No, I think probably an eagle's probably got more than I got. Don't believe everything everybody tells you guys or everything everybody writes in a book. There's at least 4 people out there that was wanting fame, fortune, and name notoriety. That's Mike Elam. He has been like that for 20 years. This is his niche. On podcast, on Facebook, he thought he had him a niche where he could draw people, and he has. He's drawn, I've seen on his Facebook page where he's got like 20,000 followers. Even one of them at one time, I looked the other day and I think he's off now, but after we'd done a video on it, but was Mr. Davison. Mr. Davison used to follow Mike Elam's podcast and Facebook page, prosecutor. If you look at the reports that we're reviewing right now, you'll see that those reports also shows that just about everything that Mike Elam's ever said on his podcast and his books is in that report. Sad, but true. This is a serious matter, and it could happen to you. A lot of people don't understand why Sheila and Fred taking up for Buford, taking up for... It's not just Buford, guys. It just happens to be Buford Pusser. This could be anybody. This could be a no-name John Doe out there that somebody wanted to accuse of something with no evidence, but because they have that badge, because they have that badge and that law degree, they can accuse somebody at a press conference, and the majority of the people will believe it because of the position they have or the titles they have and the credentials they have. Can't go by that no more. I'm sorry. Back in the old days, we could go by that. You respected the police. You respected the prosecutors. You respected these people in our criminal justice system. It's not like that no more. I'm sorry to bust your bubble. I'm sorry. It busted my bubble. You can look at my personality and my attitude anymore. My bubble's been busted too. Because I see things and I'm thinking, this is not the way our criminal justice system is supposed to work. It's about unjustly been labeled a murderer. A murderer by somebody pointing the finger, by somebody speaking it in the history, or somebody writing a book. Why do they want to redirect to Louise, to DUIs, to civil rights? Because there's no evidence. There's no proof. There's no evidence that Buford Pusser murdered his wife. There's no proof. And without proof and without evidence, he's innocent until proven guilty. He can't be proven guilty because he's deceased. Been deceased for 51 years. They had 7 years between when this happened, when his wife was killed, and when he died. 7 years they had to convict him, charge him, indict him, get a warrant on him, sign a complaint. Nothing. Until he died. And after he died, then some rambunctious, overzealous investigators who was jealous of him because of his 1973 movie, that he didn't involve in his movie, or they got their feelings hurt. Because there's no evidence. And if there was evidence, Sheila and I would show you. We'd show you just as fast on him as we would. That's just the way we are. We don't have a dog in this fight. We just want the truth, and we want people to be treated fairly. Wouldn't you want to be treated fairly? Guys, this has been somewhat like a magic trick. I used to do a little bit of magician stuff, magic stuff. I mean, I've been in everything, but I love magic. And it's like when you're doing a trick and you got somebody watching this hand when you're throwing this up here while you're doing something else with this hand, and they don't pay attention to this one because they're too busy watching the one you're showing them. You want them. That's the one. That's why you move it around. That's because they're following you, thinking you're doing something with that hand, and all the time you're over here with this hand setting up your next trick, next illusion. This is an illusion. Mike Elam says if you tell somebody something enough, they'll start to believe it. And he laughs. He says in his podcast, Illusionary Truth, when you tell somebody so many times the same thing over and over, they begin to believe it. Somewhat like Jim Jones. Jim Jones told his people over and over and over that he was the one. And they believed him, and they drank the Kool-Aid. In the end, all but 80 people, I forget how many there was that died, but it was up there. And they all drank the Kool-Aid except 80 people. Do we care if Louise Hathcock had an autopsy? Do we care if Hamilton was standing up or sitting on his couch when he shot at Buford Pusser? Do we really care about that stuff? What does that have to do with whether Buford Pusser killed his wife or not? Not a thing. It's a distraction. It's to point you in another direction. Every time somebody comes up with the question, well, what about Buford doing this? Well, what about Louise? Show us her autopsy. Show Louise for... This is not about Louise. This is about Buford Pusser being accused, charged, and convicted now of murdering his wife in public opinion. What does that, Louise or Hamilton or any of that, have to do? What does it have to do about his wreck, whether he was speeding? What does it have to do with the made-up stories about smelling alcohol at the fair? What does it have to do? And we've called a bunch of them out. We've corrected a bunch of them, but it still has nothing to do with Buford Pusser being accused by Mr. Davison on that stage of murdering his wife. Don't have a dang thing to do with it. Avoid those conversations. When you're talking to somebody and they say, what about this? Don't be fooled. Don't let them distract you. Stick on the questions that you was on. Stay on course. Let's talk about Buford and Pauline. Let's talk about the evidence that's missing. Let's talk about things pertaining to 1967, that day. Truth with proof. Show us proof, guys. Show us proof. Not this 1,000-page or 2,500-page report. That's not the truth. That's a report that somebody has put their opinions, they put hearsay, and they put a whole heck of a lot of Mike Elam's book and his podcast in that report. That's rumors, myths, speculation, and innuendos. That's what it is. If you'll start looking at things, guys, I don't want to call you Kool-Aid drinkers. I don't want to insult you. Mike Elam says the naysayers, this is not us against them or Mike against Baldwin or us against that one or this one. Let's all go with the truth. For you people out there that's outspoken, you're real outspoken. I was hoping at one time there was one real outspoken one, and I was thinking I was bringing him over. That we was convincing him through evidence. Through evidence, not through rumors or myths or hearsay, and we thought we were convincing him. Some people's too proud to say, hey, I was wrong. Guys, listen, I don't know. The evidence doesn't show it, and we don't think Buford Pusser killed his wife. We wasn't there. We're not Jesus Christ. We don't know. We don't know no more than you know. But wouldn't you hate to be accused of something, and especially when you're dead and can't defend yourself, on a rumor, on something that you just don't know? Let's side on the side of safety, compassion. If we're going to err, let's err on the side of compassion and fairness and honesty and say, hey, would I want somebody just pointing their finger at me because I was there? Does that mean I done something wrong? Buford's dead. God, if he done something wrong, God will have his justice in the end. But why do we feel compelled, some of you, to point that finger and condemn him with no more evidence than somebody saying that you did it? If you're of age, most of these people wasn't even born in 67. Most of them wasn't even born when Buford Pusser was killed. But they know all about it. One person says, I've read every book there is out there. I've read every book. I've seen every movie, every sequel. Guys, I'm sorry to bust your bubble, but that's not evidence. Those are movies. Those are books. Somebody a human being wrote those books. Did that human being have a prejudice against Buford Pusser? Did they have a prejudice against Pauline? Did they have a prejudice against the TBI? A human being wrote those books when you were saying that. I've read every book there is. That doesn't make it true, pal. That doesn't make what you read true. These people admit with their own. I know there's a lot of hearsay. I know there's a lot of circumstantial. I know there's nothing but hearsay. There's nothing but circumstantial. There's nothing in the world that could prove that Buford Pusser killed his wife. any shell casings, anything like that they had are gone. They lost. They lost Pauline's clothing. They've lost her shoes. They've lost... Oakley Baldwin says there was a shotgun laying in his front seat. Why didn't he grab the shotgun? Shows a picture of the front seat. It shows shoes laying in the front seat. This guy says he believes in Oakley Baldwin, believes in Mike Elam. Where's the shotgun? Don't. You're too smart. People's too smart out there. We may not be smart intellectually with our vocabulary, with our grammar, with our common sense. We can tell in those pictures if there's a shotgun in that front seat. We can tell if it looks like somebody's just set them shoes back in there after... I was a cop for 40 years. Cops are not perfect. Somebody took those shoes out of that car. Do you think those shoes, that car has been all over the highway, all over the road, up and down? She's been all over the car. Her shoes may have been on when she got shot. It may have threw her shoes off. The reflexes. We don't know. We wasn't there. But I'll tell you one thing, Sheila and I don't believe. We don't believe that that pair of shoes was just sitting there side by side like you would pick a pair of shoes up with your fingers. Somebody took those shoes out of that car, and then somebody else said, whoa, wait a minute. Put those shoes back in the car. I didn't get a picture of them. Oh, okay. And then they just set them inside, and somebody took a picture. And somebody else says, look at her shoes. Who does their shoes like that? Don't believe everything you hear. Don't believe everything you see in pictures and photographs and books and videos and movies. If you don't see it with your own eyes when it happened, have some doubt, especially with AI, especially with Photoshops, computer fonts. Mr. Elam has this illusionary truth where he tells people so many times, and he says they'll believe it, and then he laughs. You tell somebody enough times, and they'll start believing it. I'm not being facetious or trying to make fun, but that's what he says, and he laughs about it, which is a telltale sign, or it should be, to some of these people that standing up. He's laughing at you. That laugh is not for Fred or Sheila McCoy. That laugh is at those people that believes what he just said. If you tell people something enough times, they start to believe it. I don't believe it. So he's not laughing at Fred McCoy. He's laughing at you. He's laughing at the people, his followers. I don't know if you see it like that. Maybe you'll look at it a different way the next time, but he's not laughing at these, what he calls naysayers. He's not laughing because the naysayers don't believe what he says, because he has no proof, and because he speaks it or writes it into history. But when he laughs, he's laughing at you, and you just don't see it. Sometimes we can't see the forest for the trees, and somebody has to say, hey, and guys, I'm not a smart man. Don't think I'm trying to lecture nobody. I'm just telling you through experience. I spent a 40-year, I'm not like Mike Elam, says he spent a career in law enforcement. He was a loss prevention officer. I'm not like Baldwin, says he had 35 years in law enforcement, and he gets in a dollar store and has a heart attack because he can't get out. He don't know how to turn that little knob to get out. You know, it takes a key to get into the dollar store or any business, but all it takes is turn that little knob to get out. You don't have to have a key to exit a building just to get in. I don't want to go personal, but he says he spent 35 years in law enforcement, can't get out of a dollar store, has a heart attack or coronary pains, and has to seek medical attention now. Filed suit against the dollar store. Filed suit against the city of Greensboro, North Carolina. He says he spent 35 years in law enforcement, but yet the only employment that we have found in North Carolina is Coast Guard reservist, not even the real Coast Guard. He was a reservist, a weekend a month and 2 weeks out of the year. And with the garbage department, Greensboro solid waste, where he was discharged. And then he filed a suit, and summary judgment ruled against him, and then he filed an appeal, and I think the appeal went against him. I'm not through doing the video on that one. Don't believe everything people tell you, guys. I've got 40 years law enforcement experience with proof. I can tell you stories on top of stories on top of stories. Real stories that I can back up with either newspaper or television and you learn from cases. You learn from things like that. You don't learn from telling people the same thing over and over or being a magician and showing them something and them believing it and saying, oh, I got them, now I'll see if I can get some more. They got you when they told you they was law enforcement. They're not law enforcement. It will be proven eventually, and you'll find out that they're not law enforcement, at least for not 35 years and not career and retired. Mike Elam had a 15 to 20 year head start on Sheila and I, for sure. We just started on this in August. He's had 15 to 20 years to type papers up if he wanted to. That will all come out in civil suits, I'm sure. But he's had plenty of time to speak stuff into history and write it into history. And after DeWanna's death, went crazy. After DeWanna's death, he thought that's it. She's the last one that will do anything, so I'm free to do what I want. And him and Mr. Baldwin, they both started saying anything and doing anything they wanted to. They thought no one would stand up, and especially once they got Mr. Mullins, Griffin Mullins, Pauline's brother, that didn't get along. They didn't get along the last years of her life with him. And him and Buford didn't get along, but that's who they went to dig her up. Not her grandchildren. They didn't even notify the grandchildren, because the grandchildren's mothers and fathers' ashes were buried. They had dug up and put their ashes down in the ground. Not in a vase. Dumped them out on their mother. Mike's children and Diane's children. They didn't even know they was digging Pauline up till they dug her up. Somebody called and said, hey, they're digging your mom and dad up. What? Can you imagine? All because the prosecutor, Mr. Davison, I think he went the 6th and got Griffin to sign the paper. The 7th, they filed it in court. And the 8th, they started digging. They dug her up before anybody knew about it. Why so secretive? This is our government officials. They work for us. They work for you in Tennessee. That's your officials. Why so secretive? This is not like it's a drug raid. This is not like a meth lab where we have to sneak up and surround it and pounce on it before anything can be destroyed. This is a grave. We're going to exhume a human body that once was alive and well, and we're going to dig her up. Bad enough to dig her up, but at least let's let all the family members know so they don't have to see it on the news. Thought no one would stand up. Well, they're standing up. There's grandchildren that's starting to stand up. I still believe in truth, character, honesty, integrity. I believe in that. It's just getting further and further. You find it less and less places. The question is, which one of these attorneys, which one of these TBI agents that investigated, so-called investigated, they went to Mike Elam and followed Mike Elam's book and Mike Elam's lead, which one of them is going to stand up and tell the truth? You've got employees of David Roush, TBI employees, and you've got employees of Mark Davison that works for the Attorney General's office. who's going to stand up? Who's going to stand up and tell the truth one day? And tell what was behind all this? We know fame, fortune, and name recognition. But which one's going to come out and tell what really happened and how this all come about? And the little powwows that we have in our offices. And we say, hey, guys, we need this, this, and this. We can bring this back. We can do this, this, and this. Well, hey, boss, we've lost. We've lost the evidence. We can't even find the file. Don't worry about it. Let's go a different route. Let's go. The person that comes out and does that, the first one that does that will be the hero. That's a person of integrity. That's a person of truth, character, and honesty. It is. It's when we, hold on guys, I got to sneeze. Excuse me. I tried to keep from doing that, but you know a sneeze, when a sneeze is coming on, it's coming. You ain't going to stop it. Set you free as long as you tell the truth. It's when we fib and lie. That's the web we weave, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And the more people you got involved, the more chances there are of you getting caught, of one of you saying the wrong thing. Don't take but one to say the wrong thing, and the rest are, hopefully there'll be one. That's my prayer. Mine and Sheila's prayer is that somebody will come forward and say, hey, we were directed in this direction. We had a narrative, and that's why we hired expert witnesses. That's why we did this. That's why we didn't go to the FBI. That's why we didn't go to the ATF. That's why we didn't go to the state medical examiner. That's why we paid for all these files and reports, because we wanted it to go our way. That's my opinion. That's my opinion. And if it is true, they know it. Guys, this has been a circus since August the 29th. It's been a circus. Mr. Roush and Mr. Davison, in my opinion, thought they were going to stand up there. They were going to say what they had to say. They're going to sell this report. College is going to make money. Everybody's, for the few that would buy it, college is making a fortune. $400 a pop. Imagine, because there's a lot of people buying this report. Sad but true that you have to buy a state investigated report that taxpayers paid for. Now we're going to double dip and charge them again. They were hoping to charge $400. Just like me, I can't pay $400 for it, so I'm not. If it was left up for me to pay $400 for the report or not read it, I just have to not read it. We only read what people send us. They just send us what they can as they make copies. Imagine the people that would have never seen or heard any of this had at least one person went and paid $400 and bought the report so they could post it on Facebook or X or YouTube. That $400 was put there to keep anybody from seeing the report. See the report. How about the autopsy? Did it match the rifle? See the report. What can you tell me about that? See the report. And then, if you want to see that report, it's $400. Are you going to fork over $400? It's my opinion. We can't fall out with everyone who thinks different from what we think. We can't fall out with everybody. Everybody can't. That's not what the good Lord wants, and I don't want to get on religion because I'm certainly not the one to talk to. I'm talk to Sheila. She's the one that lives right. I'm a sinner. Everybody sins, I know that, but I'm a sinner. It's hard for me to. Sometimes I want to just cuss people out so bad that make your head spin. I don't. I'm doing pretty good at that. Once upon a time, maybe, but or get in a ring. I used to fight full contact karate. I used to promote fights. Had McCoy's Sports Productions. The kick of the 80s, back when Professional Karate Association was alive and well, and all these big people were out there, the big names promoting karate. before MMA. We had MMA before MMA was ever called MMA. And I think, hey, I'll tell you what, let's do. Let's just get Adamsville to police department or the museum to put up a ring. May the 14th, 15th, and 16th, and me and this guy here, we're just getting a ring and raise some money for the city of Adamsville. I'm game. I'm almost 70 years old, guys. I crawl in a ring. I do it. Everyone look at the facts, or the lack of. This is not how you personally feel about someone. How many books have you read? Or how many times you've watched a movie? There's one fella that says, I've read every book there is. I have read every book. Like that's the truth. Like you're reading history. You're reading the Bible. This is how convicting a dead man of a crime looks, who can't defend himself. It's not about driving fast. It's not about how heavy-handed he was. It's about whether he killed his wife or not. It wasn't proven then. It's not proven now. It's over with. An indictment. I got a mustache hair going up my nose. An indictment is not a conviction. Not about Buford. It's about the truth. Could be anyone. Stick to the facts. Let the facts speak for themselves. What are the facts? Man shoots himself in the face. One guy, 2 or 3 guys, they're copying off each other, but they say, oh, he shot himself with a .357 Magnum. .357 Magnum. With a Magnum round in the chamber. See report. We don't want to see no report. We want to see the clothes, the shoes, the projectiles, the spent casings, the blood splatter, blood samples. How about the car? How about the car? Wouldn't that be great? That's what we'd like to see. Never going to see it. It's gone. Never going to see it. If you found the evidence today, if you found the shell casings today, if you found blood samples today, it'd be useless. Be useless. There's no chain of custody to it. They've lost the chain of custody. Nobody knows where it's been or where it's lost its integrity. It's lost its integrity. If you found the stuff today, you couldn't use it. How do you know it's not something that somebody shot and then tucking through these out on the road somewhere, and then you say, hey, looky here, yeah, we found this case and it goes with that gun. Integrity and honesty is everything, especially in court. Especially in court. Where are they? That points just the facts. Anybody remember Dragnet? Just the facts, ma'am. Just the facts. No hearsay, no rumors, no innuendos, no opinions, no opines. See, opines is not evidence. Opines is not proof. Opines is an opinion. An opinion. The doctor gave his opinion. Now, he charged them for their opinion. They charged them for their opinions on a lot of things. Happened outside the car, moved in. It was all staged. They charged them to say that in a report. It's their opinion. Go get 15 more. If you've got the money to hire them, you can go get 15 more experts. Come in there and say the exact opposite from their opinion. blood spatter with no car, drive-by ambush with no car, shootout from 20 to 50 feet away on a tripod, a 2010 Cadillac instead of a 67 Ferry. It's apples and oranges. Apples and oranges. Nothing in these reenactments were correct, except the fact that that 30 caliber round, when it went through that dummy's head, other than putting it right up against the head, the projectile, the bullet stayed inside the head. So we know that Pauline was not shot in the head, or at least in a full head. At least the head had already been blown apart, and maybe a 30 round went through and out another hole. But those 30 round caliber M1 rounds did not go through and through her head. That was a high velocity round. That was a 30-06. Stop letting them redirect you. Sorry if this is dragging out. Truth through proof. They didn't have it 58 years ago, and they don't have it now. It's not about being Buford Pusser fans. We're not. We're not Buford Pusser fans. We feel sorry for Buford now. We're going to go to his thing that they have in May, the festival coming up next year. I'll forevermore. I'm not going to say I'm a fan because he was Buford Pusser. I'm a fan because he's been done dirty. I'm a fan because he was treated dishonestly. He was treated wrongly. He was accused with no proof. It's about truth and honesty of our police and prosecutors. Guys, when you lose your trust in your police and your prosecutors, in our criminal justice system, we've lost. If we can't trust our police and our prosecutors to do what's right and fair, no matter how it turns out, Lady Justice is blind. The scales are even. Then we start putting proof, and we put proof, and we put evidence and evidence and evidence till finally it's without a reasonable doubt. There's doubts on top of doubts. There's not even no proof. Your scales ain't even tilted here other than hearsay and rumors. People's reputations when falsely accused. Some of these people out there that you see on these videos and stuff, you're thinking, well, they got the same interest I got. They like this, and that. Well, shucks, if it wasn't for the Buford Pusser case and controversy, I could be friends with that person. But see, we can't do that because we got a difference in opinion, a difference of take on Buford Pusser. Our take, Sheila's and mine, is on proof, truth with proof. Other people's is on, don't you talk about this person. Don't you say nothing about that person. Don't you? Truth with proof. Say what you want about us. Say what you want about anybody else. If you've got proof. People have allowed Mike Elam, Oakley Baldwin, to separate other people and the truth. They've allowed them. Follow the evidence, guys. It's real easy. If I could ask everybody to do one thing, it's follow the evidence, not books. This guy says he's read every book. Don't follow the books. Follow the evidence. Get off the couch and go research. Go research. Find exculpatory. There's enough exculpatory evidence that shows Buford didn't murder his wife. There's evidence that tends to prove the other way rather than proving that he did. That's evidence. It may be exculpatory. It may tend to prove his innocence. What are we afraid of, proving his innocence? Why does he have to be guilty? Why does he have to be? Don't make somebody guilty when they're not, just because you have a narrative or your friend has a narrative and you want to help them prove it. No one's going to change Mike Elam or Oakley Baldwin's mind. These guys have a personal interest in Buford Pusser's history, in Buford Pusser's fame, and they want the fortune. They want the book sales. They want the tours. They want the videos. They want the YouTube videos, the podcast. They're out for the gold. Not the truth, for the gold. In my opinion, Roush and Davison was out for fame, name recognition. That's my opinion. I don't think I've hid that from day one. When I saw them two fellas on that stage, broke my heart, because one's a police supervisor, director. One's a chief prosecutor. 40-year career. I'd rather let a guilty person go is to ever charge, convict, or incarcerate an innocent person. That was my, and especially in later years, as I started seeing things evolve in our justice system. I'd rather let a guilty person go. You can always get him another day. He'll mess up again. Than ever put an innocent person, or even charge an innocent person where, because in America they can say, oh, you're innocent till proven guilty. No, you're guilty from the moment you're charged, and you'll be guilty forevermore, even though you're not. That's the way our criminal justice system works. Look at Buford Pusser. Saw on the news the other night where this guy been in prison for 24 years. 24 years. And he was there falsely. They had the DNA in the evidence room and wouldn't give it up. Wouldn't let it be tested to prove his innocence. The prosecutor and the police. Because they didn't want to be embarrassed that he had served that much time. So they let it go for 7 more years before they were forced to do it. 7 more years that he spent while they tried to cover. Is that sad? It'd be sad if it was you or me or a family member. Guys, I don't know anything about this. I got a note here, and it's talking about Mike Elam. You know, a person's past predicts their future. A person's character gives you a reference to how a person is, but somebody sent us a message on the Vietnam War that he was a draft dodger. That I don't know that. I'm telling you what I was sent, and I've got it here. But it says that his lottery number for the draft was 65, and the cutoff was 125 or something like that. So he would have been in the draft, but he started to college. He started to school. I'm not going to go into all that. It's showing all the different things that you could have got out of the Vietnam War for. And they're asking, why did Mike Elam? Now, they'll ask him that question, I'm sure. That just goes towards a person's integrity. Did a person say they were not able to go, or they were mentally incompetent? They were physically challenged? They were, in order to get out of It's going to conclude this video. I just wanted to throw this one out there. That's some basic questions that some of them we've been asked, some of them we've been messaged, some of them, I know that probably 2 people, if that, still watching it. Thank you if you are. If you got any questions, put them in the comments, and I'll make another one of these later on, or I'll type back in the comments to you. Go to Fred McCoy 40 from now on. We'll probably still post some on Sheila's channel. We were getting off Sheila's channel. It's sad because now we got to still post some on there periodically, because Sheila was wanting to go back to her regular program and stuff. But after other things start, every time we get ready to make a change or do something, somebody threatens us or somebody does something off the wall, and we say, well, we can't go now. That'd look like we were running. You don't know Sheila and I. Sheila and I don't run. Well, we can't run. She's got a bad knee and I got a bad back, so we don't run. But when we was in good health, we didn't run. We've never been runners. Run toward it, never away. Thanks, guys. Catch you next time.